Hey there, bike fans. In this video, we're going to be actually showing a interview that I had with Levi Conlow a little earlier today. Today is April 22nd, 2022. It is a huge day for the company Lectric XP, but also for the e-bike industry. In my personal opinion, I think this is really a game changer, and literally it's going to kind of shake up the industry because of what Lectric e-bikes is doing with their launch today of their announcement. So by the time this video comes out, the announcements have already been made. It's going to be launched almost simultaneously, just a little after when they start talking about it. I'll put this video up, and it is almost an hour of 50 minutes or so. Now, in the beginning of the video, we did talk a lot about other stuff in the industry, like the recent launch of the Lectric XP Lite, and then also what's going on with different things. And about maybe 25 minutes into the interview, I asked him if he could share about what's going to be announced, and he did. He went into full detail about it, and I think honestly this goes into a lot of detail about, I don't know what they've said in the launch as far as how much other details have been talked about this, but I got him free flowing and talking. There is only one little edit early in the video to go ahead and get the video started without the setup part of it, but the rest of it is pretty much all uncut from the beginning to the end. And I hope that you guys find this as exciting as I do. Like I said, this is going to be huge, game changer with regards to how bikes are going to start being made. Please go ahead and let me know what you think about the announcement, and let's get started on the interview.
Hey, Chris.
I am so excited. And thank you so much, first of all, for allowing me to actually get the privilege of actually hearing about the announcement and what's going on, and record this and share it with the audience. So excited.
I know, dude. Well, I remember giving you a jingle. What was it? May or June of last year,
Yep.
you and I talked on the phone following the 2.0 announcement, and just kind of the state of the market was so wild that I remember you just because I watched quite a few of your videos, and
Oh,
because
thanks.
candidly, I consume any e-bike narrative or commentary possible. And anyways, you were talking about just the general state of the market and driving forces of this, that, and whatever. And you had so much information where it's like, my goodness, Chris has the inside scoop on a lot of things that others just don't know about. So I was impressed, and I think you're a great advocate for the e-bike space, and a good person to provide commentary and insight, because with so much of the market being D2C right now, it really requires people like you to kind of block out some of that noise and give bigger picture. And then also you touch, greatly on just industry tailwinds and everything like that. So yeah, man, I'm always game to talk e-bikes.
Oh yeah, honestly, the XP changed my life. I mean, from
Good.
in the middle of the pandemic, going through anxiety, being stuck at home, I was able to get it in 3 weeks after my order, which was extremely quick. And I mean, another one that I had ordered took 9 months, but had XP not come out, my wife probably would have killed me before I killed myself. I mean, where I was going through really a lot of issues with depression and everything. And it opened the world and completely changed my mental state. And it was so amazing. And the bike still to this day I had the 1.0, fantastic. The 2.0 was even better. And congratulations on the Lite. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I was excited to see that. I mean, it seems like you guys are hitting a smaller demographic, if I'm not mistaken. A younger demographic.
Yeah. So, the purpose with the Lite is, we kept receiving feedback over the past couple of years of like why people still aren't getting our e-bike. And, we find it's our job to just simply listen to what people tell us and then make products designed for it. That's our job here at Lectric. And what we had seen is, the market is starting to trend a little bit younger, and people are starting to use, e-bikes in these urban, settings. And the 2.0 was just a little bit too heavy for some of those environments. And then for some of those customers, being at $1,000, or $999 is still just a little too high. And it's like, all right, then we got to break it down to like what's, we offer financing through a firm and the payment plans and whatever. And then eventually we're like, all right, we got to figure out how we can get this bike offered for $800, and we got to trim off 20 pounds of weight so we can really, deliver to this clientele. And one of the biggest inspirations to make it was originally semi-drivers, just hordes of them were reaching out saying, I need something smaller, because the XP really hit a great space with the RV industry, but semis, their cabs are so small. So the footprint you're allowed to take up is just really, really dropped down in size. So when we made our first light bike, we went and we looked at it, and we brought in the tires and the frame shrunk down and this, that, and whatever. We looked at it single speed and we're like, dude, is this more of a BMX bike now? Like, it kind of changed the attitude. And so then we threw a fun paint job on it. And then once we threw a couple of paint jobs on it, we showed it to some of our staff, and like everybody went absolutely nuts. And then it's like, wait a second, like this is going to be a great tool for not just hit that semi driver, but really the urban commuter and the young professional. And, what I've been really pleased about is the adoption of the light. We're only about a week and a half in with it, but it has shown no cannibalization of 2.0 sales. That candidly was a huge concern of Rob and I's and the whole leadership team. Is like, are we about to just foolishly come out with a bike at $800 and drop our average order value and just drop all of our numbers like significantly? And what we saw instead is 2.0 sales stayed the exact same. And now we just have this incremental, completely new customer that we otherwise weren't selling to. And it's like, oh my goodness, we nailed it. Like, it was just, it wasn't exactly for the customer that already has a 2.0 or a 1.0, because those bikes are sick. They're best value by far in terms of everything you're getting packed into that $999 price. It's second to none. And then we needed to get to this new customer and really reshape the bike. And so far the data is telling us that we hit that mark, and we're just so happy, because ultimately our job at Lectric is, we talk about it a lot internally, and why the heck are we doing this? Why are we working so hard and pushing the limits and everything? And it's to be, the greatest urban transportation solution ever is like our internal purpose statement that we use in all of our decision making. And it's like a moral compass of the company. And in order to be the greatest urban transportation solution ever, we have to have bikes that can fit a variety of needs in the market. And we see a direct correlation between, accessibility and affordability and the number of people we can get riding, right? So we obsess over that, and the light is almost our purpose statement in its most pure form, because it was asked for by customers. It is now being successful with reaching a customer we otherwise weren't reaching. And now, at that price point, there's really no reason to get any other e-bike, sub $998. If your budget is under $998, the light bike is for you. If your budget's $999 or $999 to maybe $1,700, the 2.0 is right for you. So I think that's a great deal of satisfaction, and I know the product team feels thrilled, because it just shows that when we listen to our customers, it continues to, pay its dividends, and it's just this great rewarding satisfaction we get to experience right now. So yeah, the light's been a hoot, and I'm really freaking excited to start shipping these things. I think we got the first couple bikes starting to trickle out here in like 10 days from now. We are shipping out. Yeah, that's we awesome. Went a little conservative on our timelines and everything, but we'll start shipping out some of the colors and variations here. And it's just the way Lectric works, and a lot of e-bike companies, but really for Lectric, is this customer advocacy. Because every time we ship bikes, those customers and those bikes almost are now salespeople for Lectric. And so we keep shipping out bikes, and now we have an opportunity to be seeding bikes in a new environment. And it's almost like starting a new snowball. We have this massive 2.0 snowball where it feels like we own the RV industry and we own that foldable fat tire space. But now to get to the urban dwellers and the young professionals, we got that light bike. We don't have a huge footprint there.
Mhm.
And now once we start shipping these bikes, it's going to be really, really fun. So yeah, I'm very excited about the future of Lectric for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, with the whole supply chain issue that we've had last year, and it's still trickling out there, there's still problems. I'm glad that you're actually hitting the RVers. I mean, one of the big problems, or not RVers, but the truckers, because one of the big problems we're having, not enough truckers on the road. And this is maybe an added incentive that they can have a little way to be out there.
Dude,
not only, yeah, it's a great.
I would totally love to collaborate with like a trucking service that is like trying to recruit people, where it's like, dude, offer them some e-bikes, because you know those drivers work so hard and they do these incredibly long shifts and hours, and then they get to a location and then they're stuck almost, right? They're stuck at a truck stop and they can only drive so many hours a day, and then it's like they're just hanging out in their cab. And you know what I think is great about electric bikes is they allow you to be a tourist wherever you are.
Yes.
Right. It's a great solution where, you know, I may be a trucker and I'm at a stop, but now I can zip into town, you know, or I can go hit a local park with the e-bike. And as long as we can fold it up and not have it be an inconvenience, like it is pretty incredible just when you put a light next to a 2.0 in their folded form, how much smaller it is. And yeah, I'm just really excited to see the response from that industry, because although we added a fun paint job, and when we shot our launch video for it, you know, we really had some fun with it, doing wheelies and like,
oh yeah, that guy
you know,
who was
kicking
on
out the tail
was awesome.
Like that was more for Rob and I more than anything, just because like we love the light bike. It's probably the most fun e-bike we have. But at the end of the day, the original idea came from a semi driver that was like, I need you guys to take up less space. It's too heavy and everything. And so I'm really excited to start seeding those out and getting feedback from that very group who inspired it at the beginning. But it definitely has taken on a little bit of a new form of their original, you know, thought process behind it.
Oh yeah. Well, was it hard to keep that price at $799 with so much price increases, inflation, and I mean costs that are out there? I mean, well, I guess the big question is that price going to stay $799 for a while, or do you anticipate, with the way that everything's going up in price? I mean, should people get it now? I guess is the order now.
The reality is I will fight tooth and nail to keep it at as low of a price as possible. If I could have gone lower, I would have gone lower. It's just like my philosophy with e-bikes, and I see tremendous value, you know, getting more e-bikes out there and more riders above just the money that comes in. And so I will fight tooth and nail, but there is significant economic pressures, right? We see it with inflation, we see it with the container prices and this, that, and battery cell prices have absolutely surged recently. But, you know, Lectric is willing to fight for the customer, is our mantra. Is like, it was disappointing, I'll say, over the last, let's call it 5 or 6 months. We saw a lot of our competition raise prices in December. And then we saw a lot of them come out with new products that are even more expensive than their recent price raises. And it's like, what are we doing here, guys? Like, we know that being affordable for customers is going to get more people riding e-bikes. And the data supports that. You know, last year there was a study that roughly 50% of all e-bike miles were miles that replaced car miles. This was done by Portland State University. And it's like, our objective should be to get as many bikes out onto the road as possible. And if we as a market, as an industry, is just trying to raise prices up, we are not doing the right thing. We need to try to get more aggressive and fight for the customer. And, you know, I understand raising the prices, but what we need to be delivering to them is so much better than what is currently out there. And so there's just a lot of pressure. And so, you know, I wanted the light bike to, in a way, put the market, you know, on watch of like, although you all just increase your prices and then all their new product launches came out at higher prices, it's like that should not be accepted by the industry. You know, right now we are we've grown significantly. We're not even 3 years old, and we now have, you know, a significant share of the market. We imported the second most amount of e-bikes of any company last year, and you know, we're a force to be reckoned with. And when we do something so unpopular as coming out with a bike at $799, I know for a fact I ticked off some of my competition by making that move, but the reality is they should just bring down their prices and try to get more affordable, attainable options out there. And I'm excited for the space altogether, because I think pressures like what Lectric is doing is going to cause some form of movement, and I'm excited for that.
Yeah, that is awesome. And actually, as a consumer, we all appreciate that. Because
Yeah.
I mean, everybody who's been talking to me about e-bikes now, I mean, when they know that I have a channel and ask me about them, first thing they say is they're so expensive. And
Right.
now there's options. I mean, it's fantastic that you guys came out with a smaller, lighter, and an affordable bike that still doesn't actually sacrifice in quality. And honestly, that one gear, how many people really out there shift that much? I mean, I'm really wondering about that.
No, like I talked to my old man about it because, well, we actually did a Qualtrics survey. You know, we've done a couple of them, but one of them was really focused on people and how they use the bike, and a significant amount of them said like they literally never shift their gears. Like they don't even know how to. Like they got it in like year 5 or 7, and they've left it there ever since. Like that's okay. However you want to ride your bike, go for it, man.
That's why there's a motor to help you out.
Right. You got the different levels of assist to help you out and everything. So I think it's really cool to see how customers and, you know, the market that we're opening up this e-biking experience to, because it didn't seem all that long ago where it was really being, you know, gate kept by all these other huge name industry, like the Specialized and Giant and whatever, and they had these really high, and it was just so intimidating, right?
Oh yeah.
And now it's just like that stigma and that narrative has really gone away in just a couple short years, and I look forward to further pushing that, where, you know, e-biking is not just an extension of bicycling, it's an extension of transportation. Once someone gets an e-bike, they quickly realize, you know what, I could just zip to the store real quick and get whatever I need, right? And
oh yeah, and it's faster.
And
in a lot of cases it is.
Instead of just getting in your car and it's just like this mundane activity, like now you're actually getting a micro adventure is what I call it, where it's like you just like you jump on your bike and you zip on over to the store, you grab what you need and you come on back, and it's just like, I don't know, that's a lot more fun than just like driving my car. But I think that's really cool.
Yeah. I hope you don't mind if I'm going to ask about a transition about the announcement that's coming out today. Based on the email that came out, I watched that thing probably about 30 times for all those little bubbles of what's being said. And so I'm guessing there's a new bike based even on the title of that email. Would you care? Can I ask about that?
No, I'll give you the scoop. So to give context is we have these two products that we wanted to do, the light bike and this other bike. And I really wanted to let the light have its own moment and its own celebration and adoption to the industry, because I thought the price point and what we had achieved was just so special that I wanted to give it. So that's the light bike. Amazing launch, amazing reception. But the reality is Lectric now has over 150,000 e-bike riders out there between the 1.0 and 2.0. So there's all these XP customers out there. And, you know, I hear it all the time where it's like, Lectric is your great first e-bike. And it's just like a great starter e-bike and everything like that. And like, that would bother me a lot, where it's like, well, you know, I'm still better than like most of the bikes sub 1,700 bucks. So like it would bother me. And then I'm thinking about it, but these reviews kept coming up where it's like #1 entry e-bike. And it's like, there's Lectric. And it's like, well, shoot, I want to be your second e-bike, right? I'm sick of just being your first e-bike. You know, what can I create that is going to help us be that second e-bike? I got these 150,000 Lectric XP riders who may be ready for an upgrade, right? They might be ready to graduate onto that next riding experience. And when you go up, you know, you you really got to deliver that same wow aspect and everything like that. So let me just, you know, if you can give me access to share my screen, I can actually show you what it looks like. I just have a quick little one image. Perfect. All righty.
By the way, while you're doing that, congratulations. I don't know if you saw my other video talking about how you guys are #2 in the Consumer Reports magazine.
Dude, that was a huge win. So we didn't even know that was going to happen. Consumer Reports is like super.
That's huge.
Like they're so picky with who they work with and everything. And so we did not know that they were even doing it. And so, you know, oh, as this is our internal purpose statement, whatever, but yeah, Consumer Reports was absolutely sick. You know, Rob like went absolutely crazy celebrating that. I think we were more proud of that than when we were like Forbes 30 under 30 and everything, just because like that's an individual accolade, but it's really what we care about is a bike. And like seeing us beat a lot of our competition that was priced way higher than ours, that was a very rewarding, you know, feeling. But
yeah, I wanted to do a commentary about the other bikes they put in this compared to the Lectric. I don't know that you guys probably should have been #1, most economical, best commuter, I mean, you could hit so many classes. You should. I mean, they put $3,000 bikes in there. Like,
I know.
I don't know.
I know. It was crazy.
You know, yeah, it's a good magazine, and congratulations. That was awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. So the next, you know, the bike that we're coming out with that is available to all of our, you know, existing customers, and maybe the customers we're not reaching right now because they're looking for something maybe a little more premium, is the Xpremium. So the Lectric Xpremium is our extension of the XP lineup, but we're trying to push the envelope of what you should expect. And so to give reference on why this bike was created is I received all that feedback and I would see those reviews, and I went to Rob and I said, Rob, I want the single best e-bike under like $3,000. That I want the performance to be the best e-bike under 3,000. And I just kept barking at him about it. And we started from there, and then we worked backwards. And so, you know, we're huge fans of the priority cycles. Oh shoot, what is it? But it has this beautiful 500-watt mid-drive that we went out and rode, and we experienced that, and it's like, we need that, right? So just to kick things off right away, we got a 500-watt mid-drive, which is paired with a torque sensor and a shift sensor. And that was a very expensive decision to make to
I can imagine.
Like, add on this, because you know the priority current, that's the name of the bike, you know, well over $3,000, and it's like, I want that motor on my bike, and you know, I have to stay in some of the DNA of Lectric already. So we go in and we pair that, and we paired it with a torque sensor, and so the feeling of pedaling is the best riding experience ever. So for some of the viewers, torque sensors, you know, really contrary to a cadence sensor where it notices the pedal and then it starts to kick in because it triggers one of the magnets, you know, a torque sensor, it recognizes whether you're pedaling or not and how hard you're pedaling. If you are pushing down hard, it's going to give you more. And so it's just a really cool marriage and creates the perfect relationship between you, the rider, and the, you know, bike itself and your whole pedaling experience. And like, so then we did that. And then, you know, what's becoming more popular in mid-drives is pairing them with these shift sensors. And the reason it's not widely adopted yet is because it's expensive to add in this stupid little sensor. But what shift sensors do is they cut the power as you shift gears, and it creates a more fluid riding experience on the mid-drive, and it actually helps your chain and gears stay, you know, happier and healthier longer.
It definitely
so you
prevents
don't have to
damage. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
right.
Because that's a big concern with mid-drives. And
exactly. So, you know, we do this mid-drive, right? Well, so we had this mid-drive going on our bike, and we were tearing the gears apart on our original motor, or on our original prototype. So it was literally shredding the gear apart. So we had to go to DNP to get a custom 1228 tooth freewheel done, just so it could accommodate the torque that we're putting on this thing. So this 500 watt mid-drive, you know, part of the, you know, happy Earth Day, because this is Lectric's best attempt at replacing cars, is how I would describe it.
Yeah, this is
And
amazing. I'm
and
drooling over this thing. Wow.
our thought is that if we want to replace cars, we need to go into the data of like, why aren't people using bicycles and e-bikes as more of a solution? And one of the biggest reasons is people feel more comfortable when they can keep up with the flow of traffic.
Yes.
And, you know, with the 2.0, we know it, where the drivetrain just isn't quite right for you to carry that 28 mph top speed. You're kind of feathering your feet and it feels like you're on a kid's bike because the bike motor has gotten away with you. Well, pairing a mid-drive with this 1228, you can comfortably ride at 28 mph. I was doing it with my mother-in-law just the other day, and it was like she was able to comfortably be pedaling at 28 mph, still feel like there's resistance and that she's actually putting in work with the bike. But now you're just flying and everything like that. So we knew we had to bring down the teeth on the drivetrain. And so we dropped that down to 1228, had to custom do the material because we were physically breaking them. Because when you take this bad boy up a hill, you know, it can tap into about 140 Newton meters of torque, which is quite a bit higher than a lot of our, you know, our existing e-bike is 60 Newton meters of torque. So you go up a hill and you can maintain, like this hill outside my office here, I go 28 mph up the hill. And like, that's a really cool feeling. It's one thing to flatten a hill. It's another thing to flatten a hill and be a rocket up it. So it's just like a really sick marriage between just wanting to capture high performance and a whole different level of pedaling experience.
That is awesome. And I noticed you went back with the 4-inch tires.
So yeah, you know, this thing, all right, we wanted to go a little bit overkill on the comfort aspect of it, because if we want this to be a commuting method and people are going to park it in their garage and ideally maybe start replacing one of their, you know, stalls in their garage with, you know, Xpremiums, then this thing needs to be comfortable and nobody's complaining after it. So we threw on 4-inch tires and then paired that with, you know, 80 millimeters of travel on that front suspension. And that's just a little excessive, I would say. But when we made the decision of going comfort, you know, we're very concerned about the box dimensions and everything like that. And once we realized we had crossed the threshold for box dimensions, it was like, well, you know, let's just, you know, go back to 4-inch tires, because, you know, it's gonna be already, we got to pay the premium for the box, so we might as well just go overkill. And this thing, when it shows up, the wheel of it is so huge that when you unbox it and you see this thing and you put it next to like a 2.0 or a Lite or whatever, you look at it, it's like, what is Lectric doing? Are they starting to tiptoe a line of like, are they selling e-bikes or are they selling something else? Because it's just a beefy, you know, piece of hardware that shows up to your doorstep and it's like, my goodness, this thing is massive. And so it's just like, it's really cool that it kind of has that attitude and that presence right there. But yeah, and you know, so now the bike is 75 pounds, right? So we went up 12 pounds from the 2.0 weight. And so with all that added weight, you know, you got to add some stopping power. And I don't think there's few things that's been requested more than the hydraulic brakes to be, you know, become offered on our e-bikes. It's just, you'll always barking at them. And I get it, right? When you're riding the 2.0 and you're mobbing at 25 plus miles per, you know, you got to use both brakes in order to come to the stop and whatever. And with this combo, with these hydraulic brakes, you really only need to engage one of your brakes ever. Like you really, it's not necessary anymore to even use that left brake. And I think that's really sick. So people just have this hyper confidence because it feels bigger. It's more weight. You're able to travel at a faster speed more comfortably. So you'll probably do that more often. And it's just like this whole thing. And so you can now brake, you know, quickly and confidently, even with all these additional factors and this additional weight. So I think that was a no-brainer addition to it. But, you know, with this thing, so interesting thing about mid-drives is they're really freaking efficient. They can,
Yep.
you know, because it has the rider engage and work with the bike more, you end up, you know, and it's not as choppy where, you know, with the cadence where you pedal and then you stop pedaling and it keeps the juice going a little bit. No, this is completely fluid between the two. There's no jerkiness. And so the efficiency is off the chart. And so we saw that and we did our first couple tests with it and everything. And anyways, we this thing on pedal assist 2 with the dual battery, you know, we were getting like 150 miles in our range test and everything like that. So we're only advertising like 100-mile range, but Gabe, one of our lead supervisors here, like we made him go out for like a full day and he just could not like use up all the juice because it's just a way better marriage between the rider and the bike and just way more efficient on battery drainage. But so we thought, you know, if we're gonna be ratcheting up the performance of the bike and people are gonna be going faster, we got to give them more battery, right? And the most efficient and affordable way to do that is to do a dual battery system. And so what's interesting about this is, so we have a new top mounted battery exclusive to the
I know, that's
Xpremium.
awesome.
So that is, so a lot of feedback from customers where existing customers where they don't like that you got to go under and do the key. So you see that little black dot there, that is where the key goes in. The key does not need to stay in the bike in order for it to, you know, it's just, we do like to listen to our customers. When they give us feedback, we do try to listen to it. And so anyways, we spent a ton of time making this custom battery. And so both of them quick access with it and everything. And with our thought, they just be in a stall and replace people's rides, we want those batteries to be super quick access. And so maybe you only need that front battery, maybe you only need that back battery. You can pop off at any time and easily shave off 7 or 8 pounds. And so if you take off one of these batteries, this thing doesn't weigh that much more than our existing 2.0. But with all the weight, you can now take both of these batteries off pretty quickly and be able to go for your transport the bike a little bit easier, since it's just 2 quick key turns and they just pop right off. So I think that's really,
so
my understanding.
So can you plug it in and it actually one plug charges both, or is it just 2 separate chargers?
It does not. No, it does require 2 different chargers. But what we did do, which is unique, is we added, well, there's not even a true formal name yet, but it's a battery isolator, just because in the industry, there's not a ton of tech that is doing this right now. So you'll see dual battery systems on some of our competitors, but all of those require you to switch. So you drain down one battery and you flip a switch and then you start draining down the next battery. That's the standard industry. And what Rob spent a lot of time working on is a dual battery drainage system. And the reason it's so valuable is it allows you to keep at higher voltage for a longer period. And now the fluidity of your ride, your voltage gradually drops. It doesn't go like this and then go like this. You know, now you just keep it down and it is way more efficient for the whole bike. So that was a pretty sick thing we added in with it. Awesome. And yeah, it's really sick and we're very, very excited. Just the sheer rating. I'm not sure that there's, well, I haven't told you the price point yet, but I'm pretty sure there's not another bike with 20 amp hours of battery at this price point, or even within several $100s of this price point. So I feel pretty satisfied with that and everything. And then, you know, with this one, premium kind of comes included. So we got these, what is it, full or faux leather grips on it. The premium headlight comes included, which is twice as bright as our, you know, traditional headlight. The brake light, the rear light is now brake enabled. So you apply the brakes, even if your lights aren't on, it's going to trigger. And, you know, just that with the marriage of the new custom drivetrain with this mid-drive, what is absolutely nasty, and the amount of watt hours we're delivering combined between the 2 batteries, it's nearly 1,000 watt hours. You know, we're very excited. So we're announcing it today to let
Mhm.
everybody know about it and everything, because my goodness, we've received so much feedback from existing customers where it's like, when's the new bike? When's 3.0? What's next? You know, I've had my 2.0 for almost a year now. I need something fresh. And it's like, all right, guys, let me announce it. But
This is awesome.
so it's going to be announced today. Customers will begin to be able to place pre-orders on Monday, and then we're going to start shipping them in June. And we just wanted to get, I would have liked to delay the announcement of this bike, but the reality is so many of our customers are wanting this, and I think it's going to help hold them over. And then especially, you know, as you see, it comes free with Slime on all pre-orders. The thing here is a point, and the price point is starting at $17.99 as introductory pricing.
You got it under
And
$2,000.
yeah, so like it's kind of silly to think this project started of I wanted the single best e-bike under $3,000, and I can confidently say in terms of a pedaling experience, there's nobody that can really hold a candle to this bike. And I ride a lot of freaking e-bikes, but the pedaling experience, it's just it's hard to even fathom and contextualize it because it is just so different. You know, if you look at competitive matrices of the bikes we're competing with, and I won't name out all of them, but a lot of those are hub motors, and hub motors are great and everything like that. But there's a reason mid-drives don't start until $3,000, right? They are just so much better and different. And we really wanted to go for the throat of the industry, where it's like, if I have the nerve, Lectric E-Bikes has a nerve to, you know, offer an $1,800 bike, it better be exceptional in performance and experience, right? The experience is all we care about here. And it is, yeah, and it's also the most amount of battery watt hour wise, I believe, of any e-bike at $1,799 or even sub $2,000. So just in pure amount of battery that you're getting. And then you look at some of our competitors, you know, they may not include hydraulic brakes, you know, and it's like, what? We wanted to set a new standard of what the customer deserves when you're spending, you know, roughly $2,000 or $2,500 or even $1,800. I want there to be a new standard in this industry of I'm spending nearly $2,000, or I am spending $2,000. I deserve this much battery capacity. I deserve hydraulic brakes. You know, I deserve a mid-drive. That is what we want to challenge the industry. And it's about to get really uncomfortable for some competition because it's really difficult to pull off all these things. And then meanwhile, we stay very true to our core, where it's like, this bad boy showing up, as expensive as this box is, it's showing up to your doorstep, fully assembled, ready to ride, because it's my strong belief that it's my job to, you know, build e-bikes and to create a whole structure and distribution of delivering e-bikes fully assembled, not for me to try to sell you a $400 upcharge at checkout to go get your assembled at your local bike shop or this, that, or whatever. It's just, that doesn't jive with me. And so we're delivering this bike fully assembled, contrary to almost all of our competition at this price point. And we're delivering this much battery with this type of performance. I'm very excited. And I guess what I didn't hit on, which is also very unique for us, is this bike is still going to have a throttle, which in mid-drives is pretty uncommon. If you look at like Bosch, Mono, and all their mid-drive systems, they virtually never have, well, correction, none of those have throttles associated with it. So I think that's a cool addition, still staying true to our core, but this is definitely for the more experienced e-biker or the person that wants to pedal more than they do throttle. Because candidly, our best throttling e-bike is probably our light bike, because it's so light and we're pushing so much power with such little rolling resistance that you really rip around on that thing. But this bike here allows you to travel the fastest, have the best class 3 performance and experience, that I'm very excited to start getting these on the road, because this, you know, it's still compatible with the cargo pack and the comfort pack and this and whatever. And I think once you pair on some of these accessory packs, I think there's a really good chance that people are going to get it. And then they're going to think, you know what, maybe I just commute to work on my bike, right? Maybe I just start doing that. And that is what I want the Xpremium to do, is to really challenge some of those thoughts where it's like, it's not just a leisure activity, but it's something that can actually change the way you and society move. So I'm super jazzed on it. And, here it is in the black color as well.
I love that
but
you're starting with a step-through. I mean, it's so much more versatile.
Yeah.
I love that you're starting. I mean, are you going to make a regular standard, or?
No, we've seen over the last year, step-through frames really overtake the majority of it. And with our design philosophy is we want through to like become cool. And that's why it kind of has this really sharp angle mono tube, but it still kind of extends out a little far. So maybe it taps into a little bit of nostalgia of like chopper-esque vibes, where it's just like, the old school step-throughs, they called girl bikes and this, that, and whatever. And I think Lectric has done a really good job with our first step-through bike of making step-throughs cool. And we have seen step-throughs really gobble up the majority of our sales. Really, the reason the light bike is only offered in the standard XP frame is because it's with those smaller tires, the overall seat height went down. So although the standover height or step-through height, excuse me, is higher on the XP Lite, its seat height is nearly 5 inches lower. So people can walk on from the back to sit on the seat when it's fully down. And once we realized that, we realized, it doesn't actually need to be a step-through frame. And then we kind of selfishly got to keep a little bit of that BMXy attitude Rob and I love so much. But
well, plus it's lighter. Because it's light, you can tilt it over to put your leg over. I mean, the problem with some of the heavier step over bikes is that they're heavier, and for those that aren't as strong, if they want to lean the bike to get over, it becomes a little dangerous. I mean, I've seen actually people fall trying to get on because it was too heavy. So with a step through, I love it. And the XP Lite, the combination of actually having both launch at the same time, that's a brilliant. How long did it take you guys to make this? Because I remember the last time we spoke, you said the 2.0 was almost 1.5 years in the making before you launched.
Yeah, so this one was just over a year. I want to say we started this project, what was it, March of 2021. So it was just over a year. And, already done. We just recently got them on the production line, but because lead times in terms of shipping is so long, that's why we're forecasting a June delivery. But yeah, this is Lectric's greatest engineering accomplishment, just because of what Rob had to achieve here. The dual battery drainage, that was really stubborn to do. Having a mid-drive work with a throttle, that is not easy. And that was very difficult. And then having to work with DMP on a custom drivetrain and just the power output and everything. This was a major undertaking by the product team here at Lectric, but they absolutely nailed it. And I'm just so thrilled with the end product. And I'm really excited to see customers' feedback. It just seemed apparent after the Lite launch was announced, where people are really hungry for what's next from Lectric. And people, after having a 2.0 for a while, they're probably thinking, you know what, I do want more range, or I want, a better pedaling experience when I'm taking on higher speeds, or in totality, I want a better pedaling experience. And there's no better way to get that than marrying a torque sensor, shift sensor with a mid-drive that belongs on bike at $3,000. So I think that was a really cool accomplishment. And I'm thrilled that Rob was able to do what he does, which is make really sick e-bikes. And then I was able to do what I do, which is try to make it as affordable and attainable as possible. And I think this is a great extension of the Lectric e-bike lineup. I don't think it's going to replace the 2.0, volume by any means. It's more for the customer that is ready to graduate on to the next ride and that next riding experience. That is where the Xpremium is really going to shine. And then I think it's also great where it's going to pull the customers that are looking at these, Bosch and Shimano systems, or, all those e-bikes that are kind of just more at that premium price point, or that the 2000-ish range. Like, we completely just set a new standard of what you deserve when you're spending that type of money, because it's always been hard for me to fathom, some of the price points of my competition. And I think it puts the industry on their toes a little bit. So I'm excited.
That is awesome. I mean, hats off to Rob, because I mean, if I remember right, he has an engineering background, right? I mean,
Correct. Yep.
For him,
Yep.
yeah, this is a great job. $17.99. I mean, that is, it's $500-$600 below what you'd expect anything with what I mean, even a mid-drive on a folding bike is super rare. I mean, to have it put on there, oh my goodness, it's crazy. I'm still just in shock.
28 mile per hour mid-drive is uncommon, because most of those European systems are limited to 25 kilometers an hour over there. So they don't really push the envelope that hard on, like, in terms of speed. But so having to get this level of performance on 20-inch tires, it's a very careful balance when you're talking about this wheel size, because of the torque required in order to achieve these speeds and this, that, and whatever. And dude, yeah, like I said, this is Lectric's like best engineering feat, and truly our best shot, our best attempt at pulling an e-bike or a car off the road and replacing it with an e-bike. So
definitely.
That's another reason where it was like, you know what, I'm going to announce this, even though we're not opening up pre-orders until Monday. I at least wanted to get it out there because it's like Earth Day, and it's like, this is cool. So I'm jazzed.
That's awesome, man. Congratulations on this too. And yes, replacing cars, especially now at car prices through the roof and hard to find, and gas prices the way they are, this is the perfect time. Unfortunately, I mean, we have to wait a couple months, but it's worth the wait. I mean, I'm glad to hear that. I mean, now if people were looking, they know what to wait for and what to expect, and they have something to compare with. I mean, that is crazy.
Exactly.
That's going to be very difficult for your competitors. I'm so
I
sorry
think
for them.
The best thing that comes out of this is, if I was a customer in the industry right now and I was looking for a bike in this price range of, sub, let's say 2,500, then now it's like, I at least have a completely different flavor and option that wasn't there at all. And it's likely going to appeal to a lot of those customers that are looking in that space. So I'm super excited.
I'm kind of curious how many people are going to buy two. I mean, you could get because you can honestly, it's hard to find. I'm thinking even $3,000 would be a bike that you could get with mid-drive. I mean, everything that's on here, a shift sensor, a throttle on top of that. I mean, everything you want. You'd be able to put mechanical disc brake. But I mean, so do you think people say, well, instead of buying one bike at $3,000, I could probably get two and share the ride? That's where it's more fun.
Well, that's kind of always been our thing, where it's like, that's wanted to get the Lite. So price is like a lot of my that like $16 to $18 price point. And I wanted it to become a no-brainer, where it's like, those are just hub motors, like some of them not very special, where it's like, I want to be able to sell two of these for virtually the same price as one of theirs. And just to drop the seed, maybe it's not the right bike for that customer, whatever, but let's at least challenge the narrative a little bit. And this is kind of the same thing, but now at that way higher price point. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see customer adoption and customer excitement. I think the customer who's going to appreciate this the most is our existing customers who
I agree
have, or any existing customer in the e-bike space, where once you experience this type of ride with the marriage of these parts, you just kind of see the whole riding experience in a new fashion. And I think that's really cool. But reality is 2.0 is still an exceptional value and a great option for so many people. The Lite is getting a whole new group in, and I'm just really bullish on Lectric, because it seems like this is our first time where we kind of have a portfolio of products. We were always known as a company that didn't have inventory and this, that, and whatever. And, we're going to have the Lite and the 2.0 in stock for, the next several months here. And I don't know, I'm just super excited about continuing to build out this community of riders, because there's a lot of growth still to take on.
Yeah, the great thing about your first two bikes as well, though, the resale value really holds for what you bought.
Oh my gosh.
So I mean, you can sell it and you actually offset a lot of this price and get oh my, I can't even imagine. I'm not going to sell my 2.0, but the thing is, the fact is, yes, you could. And for those of you who actually have the resale, it blow your mind how much people are willing to pay for an.
It is crazy.
XP. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. No, I
Good
love
job
it,
on the
man.
branding. That's why I think that's another big thing. People recognize
That's
the
true.
brand. They know. That's a
Yeah, the reality is they're not just buying a bike, they're buying a service from Lectric, and our customer experience has to be top tier, because what I used to tell the team, and what I really lived by, but when it was just a 2.0, it's like, guys, I'll be honest, it is literally impossible for us to sell the world's best e-bike for $999. It's not possible. It's going to be somewhere around $14,000 to $15,000 because you way overpaid for some, beautiful, Shimano or Gates marriage. What like it? That's the reality, is to do the single best performing e-bike that is not going to be Lectric. But for us to deliver the world's best customer experience and the best value, those are entirely up to us. That is not just a makeup of the parts on the bike. It is up to us to deliver, an incredible experience and support, and do it so where customers don't feel like they're being taken advantage of. And that's where the value aspect comes from. And as long as we keep that as a constant reminder, Lectric's going to continue to bring out e-bikes that deliver that like wow value, or that like, wait, is one of the numbers screwed up on the screen? Like, are they missing a number? What's going on? And I think that's just great that's kind of our mantra here.
Yes. Wow, that is so amazing. Thank you so much for sharing the news.
My pleasure, Chris.
yeah.
I'm glad I was able to connect with you. We should do this more often, and just me, I'm always game to talk e-bikes and e-bike industry. So as spicy things happen in the industry, don't hesitate to reach out, and I'm always game to talk. But appreciate you letting me kind of unveil this with you live, and I'm excited. It's going to be a fun summer and year for Lectric and for the industry as a whole. I think we have great, macro trends behind us, and it's just all so exciting. So
yes.
Thank you for what you do in the industry, and kind of being a voice and a great advocate for everything. And, you keep doing that, and I'm going to keep making sick e-bikes, and we'll go from there.
Well, thanks so much too. And again, thank you for changing my life. And everybody else is out there.
I love that story, man. That is so incredible. That's what it's all about. In reality, is we want to change people's lives. That is a lot more important than overcharging and making, stupid margins. That's what I live for. So appreciate it, Chris.
We appreciate it too. Have a good one. Congratulations on the launch, and good luck on that too.
Thank you. Peace out.
All right, so I really hope you liked that video or that interview. What an amazing time I had with Levi. Thank you so much to Lectric eBikes and to Levi Conlow for allowing me to go ahead and do this interview. And I just have one question for all you guys out there. What do you think? Are you going to be getting one of these? Do you think that it's going to be the game changer I think it's going to be? I'd love to hear your comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.